What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your daily news report for Saturday, December 18th. Today we have some major news. First, President Biden could be forced to change his course very soon. I want to address what is being said at this time. I also want to address the stimulus package and how this could potentially see a major shift really quick. We're also hearing that the Omicron variant is now causing many people to question whether the Build Back Better Act and whether or not we should provide additional assistance or pass the bill. There's also proof of a super immunity. I want to address that. And also, we have some news on Social Security as well. So first off, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you had an incredible week, and hopefully your weekend goes extremely well also. But let's get into the update. First, before we do, if you could do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Now, here's what's happening. President Biden has been very clear. He wants the Build Back Better Act to pass before the end of this year. Well, it's December 18th. There's not a lot of time to get this bill passed. However, and I just want to be very clear, many argue that this is not likely to happen in 2021 anyway. Even if the bill was actually smaller and more lawmakers were on board, there's still a big disagreement in other things as well. But as a result of what's happening, the Biden administration has already got the go-ahead from the Treasury to send out double payments for the child tax credits. They're going to do double payments in February if the Build Back Better Act gets passed sometime in January. President Biden is also looking to Congress to pass student loan forgiveness. He promised up to $10,000 in student loan forgiveness per borrower, but here's the problem. In a statement from White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki last week, she stated that President Biden is just waiting on Congress to send him a bill with student loan forgiveness included. But the problem is they aren't going to do that right now. According to reports, President Biden wants a bill with more Social Security benefits for recipients as well. Now, here's what I can tell you. Right now, the House Ways and Means Committee, or at least this week, they reportedly discussed the Social Security 2100 Act, which this would raise Social Security benefits, but the biggest drawback was that the funding for this provision has to come from somewhere. President Biden has been saying for a while that he does not want to increase taxes on anybody making less than $400,000 per year, but it's because of this one provision that this is why Social Security isn't moving forward. It's because of this one thing that would require funding, right? But here's the problem. The main way that this provision would be funded is by increasing the Social Security tax cap. Currently in 2021, it's set at $142,800, but in 2022, it's going to increase to $147,000. But some are saying we need to increase it even more to $200,000 or even $250,000. But here's the problem. This is already going against what President Biden already promised, that nobody making under $400,000 per year would pay a penny more in taxes. So he's already going against what he just said. Now, here's what I can tell you. The plan, according to reports going forward, is to get the Build Back Better Act passed quickly. This will most likely take place in January or February of 2022, but all of that is really in question at this point because of what recently happened. Yesterday, there was a lot of new updates regarding Omicron. Now, here's what I can tell you. Yesterday, ABC News reported that despite no clinical Omicron infections in Florida, almost 100% of the positive wastewater samples show Omicron. And Omicron is now the dominant strain in Orlando, Florida. Now, I just want to give you a major warning here, okay? This is what we're hearing. And I just want to give you an idea of how big this is. In recent years, according to reports, more than 150,000 people visit Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day, which is one of the parks that makes up Disney World near Orlando. So why is this so important? Experts are already predicting that Disney World, or Disney World, Magic Kingdom, whatever you want to call it, this is already expected to be called a super spreader of Omicron very soon. So once we get to Christmas Day, then we should see all the people that show up near Orlando, in Orlando, whatever you want to call it, right? All those people that show up in Florida. The problem is when they go back home, they are most likely going to be carrying the virus. Now, why is this such a big deal? And why does this matter in regards to what President Biden wants or what he's doing in the upcoming stimulus package? Here's why. Many predict that the entire Build Back Better Act will need to be reworked because it will not suit the needs of the country any longer. Currently, I don't even want to say currently, in the past, let's say 6 months, the Build Back Better Act, or this human infrastructure bill, or the stimulus package, or whatever you want to call it, the American Families Plan, this actually had a lot of stuff in it that would help out the American people and the country. But as things started to get cut, reduced, modified, the bill ultimately just took a big turn, and not many people even liked it. So here's what I can tell you. Many argued that this bill should have been changed a long time ago, especially when we started to see COVID cases come back. Here's the reason why. If the bill is modified to cater to our current situation, then experts are anticipating more benefits will come to things like business funding, pandemic EBT and SNAP benefits, utility payment assistance, rental assistance, enhanced unemployment, and there's even a chance for an additional stimulus check. That's what experts are predicting. But all of this will really be dependent on how severe COVID cases are. So let me just put it this way. If we see more and more COVID cases, more people test positive, right? Then businesses will most likely shut down. Schools are likely to close. And people who normally relied on schools to go to work, they won't be able to go to work. Daycares will most likely have to close. So in essence, we will be right back to March 2020. That's not a good time. If you remember, that was not a good time. But keep this in mind, that even though experts say that Omicron is not as dangerous as Delta, it's still dangerous. And one health expert put it this way. I want to explain these numbers to you because when I was thinking about it, it made a lot of sense when this person put it this way. Because everyone's saying the Delta variant is more dangerous, but Omicron is more infectious. But here's the thing. Let's say the Delta COVID variant, let's say out of all the people that test positive, 10% get hospitalized. That's a pretty good amount of people, right? 10%. But let's say with Omicron, only 2%, right, get hospitalized. Well, here's what you need to keep in mind. So let's say each day we see 100,000 Delta cases and 10% end up in the hospital. That's 10,000 people. That's a lot of people. But let's look at how infectious Omicron is. Omicron is much more infectious. So let's just say 10 times more, which is actually more infectious than that. Let's just say 10 times more, because I want to do easy numbers, especially this early in the morning. What if 1 million people are infected from Omicron and just we're going to use that 2%. 2% of people are hospitalized. That's 20,000 people. 20,000 people would be hospitalized. And this is why this is such a concern. Because what experts are telling us is, yes, Omicron is not as dangerous, but it's much more infectious. Well, what happens if twice as many people show up to the hospital? It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take too much to actually cause a lot of these people to not get the care that they need. What if it's the equipment? Okay, a nurse. Okay, what if they don't have the beds and people come in for a gunshot wound, a fire, they're burnt, right? A car crash, anything. What do they do then? So even though Omicron might not be as dangerous, it can still be dangerous to many people. And this is the problem. And this is why some say that we have to get this under control. And this is why getting this under control could potentially mean, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, we could potentially see more of a modified lockdown. Okay? Now, I'm not here to tell you that's going to happen. What I'm here to tell you is, if we hear rumors that this could potentially be coming, I'm going to be here to warn you. I will be here to tell you, hey, go get ready. Be prepared. Stock up. I did a video on this. Okay? I did a video on this the other day. Go in and watch it. Go back to some of my previous videos. And I talk about, should you be saving or what should you be doing? And I also talked about, I believe it was just yesterday, told you guys to do this now. Do this now. Make sure you guys are being prepared. Stock up, right? Stockpile if you can. If you have the money, do it. Okay? Because we don't know what's going to happen coming up. But here's something I can tell you. Let's talk about COVID and the super immunity. Recently, studies found that people who are fully vaccinated and experience a breakthrough case of COVID now have a super immunity. This means that those who have both shots of Pfizer or Moderna and the booster, plus contracted COVID after the booster, will now have super immunity. According to the report, and I quote, the increases were substantial, up to 1,000% increase and sometimes up to 2,000%. So it's really high immunity. But here's what health experts have to say. Health experts are warning people, do not purposefully attempt to go and get the virus following the booster shot. It's not a good thing to do. Also, this is big. Studies also indicate that having the right sequence of vaccine, booster, and virus play a major factor in the amount of antibodies in one's system. So if you contract COVID, then you go and get the vaccine, and then later on you go and get the booster, you would not have such a high immunity. But if you get the 2 vaccines or the one for Johnson & Johnson, and then you contract COVID, and then you get the booster, again, you would not have such a high immunity. You have to do it in the right sequence. It is vaccine, booster, and then contract COVID would be super immunity. But again, do not go and try to contract COVID. It's not a smart move. So that's what we know as of right now. As always, as I know more, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates. What I can tell you is there's a lot of stuff happening right now. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of people questioning what is going on. What I can tell you is I am questioning everything. I'm doing the research, trying to figure out what is actually going on so I can report the facts back to you. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.